केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल में मेरे साथी राज्य मंत्री श्री रमेश्वर तेली जी, पद्म विभूषण डॉक्टर आर.ए. माशेलकर जी, पद्म विभूषण डॉक्टर अनिल कटकोटकर जी, मेरे मंत्रालय में सचिव श्री पंकज जैन जी, चीफ पोस्टमास्टर जनरल दिल्ली रीजन मंजू कुमार जी, IOCL के अध्यक्ष चेयरमैन श्री श्रीकांत माधव वाद्या जी, डॉक्टर राम कुमार जी, dignitaries from IOCL, industry executives and members of the media. My colleague Rameshwar Teli ji, whilst addressing all of you, referred to IOCL, I think, as a young company. India is a 7,000-year-old civilization, but we are only a 75-year-old country. So I was asking my friend and colleague, Pankaj, I said, what does that make us as a country? And he put it very well. He said, India is just about 1% of our civilizational values. Now that is for a country, because India is achieving greatness, and we are going from 75, as the Honorable Prime Minister says, by the time we are 100 in 2047, we will hopefully have registered progress which no other country would have registered in so short a period of time, in spite of all the developmental challenges. When an individual hits 50, there are physical, anatomical issues, but I still think 50 is just a figure, and one is at the height of one's vitality. I can say that with confidence because I'm way past 50. But I can tell you that what IOCL has achieved in the span of 50 years, I'm not talking about your economic progress. I'm coming to another aspect. When I see Dr. Mashelkar, I had the privilege of getting to know him, working with him in one of the most instructive and productive periods of my professional life. Because intellectual property is something that is the real wealth of the country. And you had glittering success in developing consumer-focused products, high-performance fuels, mini LPG cylinders, world-class automobile lubricants, automation of retail outlets, LPG distributorships, etc. But I think anyone who has even a nodding acquaintance with what commercial entities can do in terms of producing and then providing intellectual property protection, patents. 53, you have developed and commercialized 53 indigenous technologies and new products, filing more than 1,500 patents in that process. Now I think that is real progress. And I ask myself a very simple question: how many Fortune 500 companies, for that matter even research institutes, produce such high quality output in the field? And I think you have a very valid, justified sense of pride, and I congratulate you, Mr. Vaidya, and through you the IOCL family. So heartiest congratulations. You talk about a celebration of sustained success of IOCL R&D. Your colleagues have been part of this team. But I have a tendency, maybe because of my own experience of looking at technology in terms of the leapfrogging that takes place. Dr. Mashelkar used some beautiful words, pole vault. I mean, it's a height, other things. And I was just reflecting that it was not many years ago that even a gas cylinder or a gas chula was not commonly available. Even in the year 2014, when the Honorable Prime Minister assumed charge and responsibility, we had only, what, 14 crore gas connections? Today we have 30 crore gas connections. So one of the questions I was asking your chairman is, what is the timeline within which you can make this solar cooker, of which we had the privilege of interacting with two very happy persons who were, that was genuine. You know, when somebody says this is easy, that is easy, there's no hesitation. Of course, I'm sorry if I provoked you into presenting it to them, but I think that's the least you can do. Okay, good. So I'm not feeling guilty on that score. It's a good investment, by the way. They're the first people to use it, also get one. No, I was saying that if you can scale up the production, utilizing economies of scale, and bring the price to what I call reasonable and affordable levels, the same pride, I hope you can do it whilst I'm still minister, that instead of my having to say 14 crore connections has become 30 crores or it will become more gas connections, I can say we started with 0 and we already have 1 crore connections. So I am just trying to provoke you into saying that you will get 1 crore of these things out into the market. I genuinely believe that this is provide a paradigmatic shift, because we are moving. I mean, you know, there was a lady who said that isme khana zyada swad mata. You know, there was an element of something which some of you would have missed. When you do the cooking on coal or on a medium like that, it hits your eyes, it permeates the etc. You move to cooking gas, it's a quantum jump improvement. But I believe when you move to solar, it will be even bigger than that, because there is no even residual issue of any smell or any industrial system. So I think, I know many of my colleagues in the Council of Ministers will be delighted. When today I was in a cabinet meeting and one of my colleagues was asking, वो solar cooker का क्या हुआ? मैंने कहा लगता है कि आज उसकी demonstration होने वाली है. So I'm going to send this to him. You know which of my colleagues I mean. No, I'm really delighted that you are using your economic success without letting the eye off the innovation, product adaptation, developing technologies, and that whole and I think the number of patents, 1,500 that you filed, speaks volumes. I'm also delighted today to have with us two distinguished sons of India. Before we came here, I was recalling with Dr. Kakotkar that famous day, 11th May 1998, if I'm correct, when many of us, after a few hours in the morning when everybody, the decision-making level was missing in the government till we got the fantastic news that we had exercised an option which at least my party, the BJP, has been speaking about all along. If you read the party manifesto or Sankalp Patra, then it said that we will examine the possibility. And as a professional foreign service officer, I can tell you that was one of the proudest moments of my life, and Dr. Kakotkar was at the core of it. He was a core member of the illustrious team which pioneered India's nuclear tests under Vajpayee's government. And he has played an invaluable role in India's emergence on the global geopolitical landscape as a responsible nuclear capable nation. And today when he referred during the course of his interaction with you to clean energy, out of which nuclear energy is an option, and I thought to myself, so much of political capital was expended at that point of time. Somehow the commercial contracting to use nuclear energy, and I'm not trying to lay the blame anywhere, etc., but you know, when we look at the energy requirements of the country, we look at the fact that our global consumption of energy is 1/3, our per capita consumption in the country is 1/3 of the global average, and the country is growing 9.2% last year, 8.5% as the base is increasing. You will need more energy. Can we look at all the clean energy options? And that is clearly the sentiment that I'm seeing. I know there were difficulties in one part of the world with reactors, etc., but I'm sure that with the kind of expertise we have here, including around this, in this hall, we should be able to look at those and see whether we can also use that as an I am personally, completely obsessed these days with the transition from the current energy mix to a sustainable green energy environment and green hydrogen, and I was delighted when Dr. Mashelkar said that they were looking at this years ago. But today, we are in the happy situation, I think, of utilizing that reflection on green energy to making it work. And even at the risk of sounding a little, I keep telling my colleagues, including my colleague who's the power minister, I said, power is very important, but it only accounts for 17% of your energy requirement. Green energy and green hydrogen will work when my friends will start using it in the refineries. And I'm very happy that work has already begun on that. We are now looking at a national policy, and whatever the target is, 750 megawatts by 2030, or even faster. I mean, I keep getting figures which we keep revising, but I think that's a road that we're all planning to go down. Let me say that Dr. Mashelkar, I served in Geneva as ambassador and permanent representative. At that stage, I was accredited to the World Intellectual Property Organization, and his contribution to that world, I think everybody knows, and I'm delighted that he's here today. He was integral in developing a framework for promoting intellectual property in the Indian scientific community. Now, Indian scientific community, I keep looking at the traditional knowledge, wealth we have here, and I think we still need to do some work to ensure that our rich traditional knowledge, Ayurveda and all those, that we can cover that in a way to make it commercially a win-win, and the Prime Minister particularly attaches the highest importance to this. Now today, clearly, we are considered a global hub of scientific activity, and not just IOCL R&D, but also industry leaders here are looking to take the next leap and commit resources to building a thriving R&D ecosystem in India's energy sector. So therefore, I'm sure that your example, and I see all my other colleagues and friends, the CMDs of the oil companies, that they will use that, because I believe this is a reservoir of both economic resource and talent, which in many ways is unparalleled in the world. Because we had developmental challenges, we overcame those. Today we are, I believe, insofar as energy is involved, India will be the critical driver of demand in the coming decades. Why? Because even as the world is talking about green and sustainable energy, the fact of the matter is that at least for the next 3 decades, if not more, we will be dependent on current, energy, etc. And therefore, any changes that you can make, any innovation, any adaptation, all that will go a very long way. This period of transition clearly is an opportunity as much as it is an imperative. When I cite figures like how many people go to a bunk every day, petrol pump to fill energy, what is it, 6 crores? People are shocked. 6 crore people go to fill up energy. And thereby hangs both a reflection of what is going on, but also a tremendous challenge and opportunity. Because you can see there that how much you can do with those resources that you have, both in terms of energy security, the making it available at affordable prices. I know the world is today characterized by, I wouldn't say uncertainty is too mild a word, by turmoil, but you are there everywhere. Now you have offices all over the world. You can look at what energy opportunities present themselves, and I have absolutely no doubt that our friends and colleagues in the energy sector, oil sector, will take full advantage of what is available in the world. I want to just come back to the intellectual property part for a minute, because I think some of these figures are very impressive. 28,000 patents were granted last year against 4,000 patents in 2014. Now, if you look at 2014 to 2022, the jump from 4,000 to 28,000. 2.5 lakh trademarks were registered in 2021 as against 70,000 trademarks in 2013 and 14. Again, that's a 3.5 times jump. 42 startups reached unicorn status last year, that is in 1 year. Before 2014, the average was 1 unicorn a year. Last night, I was with one of those unicorns in a small discussion, etc. And I wondered to myself how people who you would never have imagined can do such innovative work, and now that number is multiplying. Therefore, all I can say is that much of this is due to the very encouraging and facilitatory economic environment which the Honorable Prime Minister's policies, including Made in India, Startup India, Atal Innovation Mission, and incentivization of multidisciplinary research, such as drones, for instance. I was Civil Aviation Minister when we were facing all kinds of difficulties. One day, the Honorable Prime Minister decided that we were not only going to deal with drones and have drones, but we will become a global center for development, research, etc. And the rest is history. You saw what happened recently when the entire sky was lit up on 26 January with drones. So once again, I'm personally delighted to be joining you on this Jubilee 50 years, as I said, in the life of a company. Is still a very small, because the company is destined to do great things. Heartiest congratulations to all of you, and I hope I have provoked you into making sure that the solar cooker is going to reach scales which are going to make it available to all our consumers within a reasonable period of time. Once again, thank you very much, and heartiest congratulations.